This podcast is part of the No Phony Podcast Network, the home of independent awesomeness.
Because you get so excited, you have a hard time following through. Going to tell me that that's the devil's work, then I need to shake his hand and thank him. Yeah, when you stop watching me and get in the bedroom, your odds are a lot better.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of On the Road with Jim and Casey. Joining me, as always, James Morganti.
Let's ride.
And joining us today is psychic medium and spiritual advisor who is truly known as the hottest psychic with the warmest heart and is also known as the Jew with the clue, Artie Hoffman. How you doing, man?
That would be me. That would be me. Everything's going really good. With all this crap that's going on, I just stay in my own little world. And I really mean that. When I say in my own world, I mean, I still go towards the beaches. I love being by the water. And the only time I wear a mask for me personally is when I have to, when you go in the stores or stuff, you have to. That's the only time. But, I strongly believe in just keeping your immune system up with proper nutrition and with vitamins. I take a lot of vitamins every day to keep my immune system up, so I don't let it really get the best of me. So I just try to, and I play happy music, upbeat music. I listen to comedies, watch funny things on the YouTubes and stuff like that. So I just try to keep my spirits up while I'm going through all this stuff. While we're all going through all this stuff, So.
Do you find being, because I'm all about right now at home workouts, supplements. I do so not a ton of supplements, but I'll do like vitamin C, zinc, vitamin A. I try to eat fairly healthy, but now it's getting a little tricky. But do you find training your body, right? It helps the spirit. Well, because you all need all three. But do you find like being healthy throughout all this helps your mind psionic powers?
Yeah, you know what it is? It's just keeping an emotional, healthy state of mind.
Right.
Meditation, helps. And when I drive, I'm in meditation all the time. I don't even know how I get from wherever I'm going. I don't even pay attention. I'm on automatic pilot, seriously.
Yeah, same.
I'm in my own zone. I do a lot of readings, believe it or not. I do a lot of psychic readings with my clients while I'm driving. Not that I purposely do that, but I do it just like if I'm going from point A to point B, and people will call me up and I'll do readings while I'm driving. And, I'm really good because I'm in a la-la zone.
I feel you on that. We talked about all the time. I've driven across the country multiple times, being on tours. And when I'm on the road, it's like my highest physical form. Like, remember in Dragon Ball Z, it's like my spirit level is so powerful there because I feel I'm like worshiping and meditating and praising. And I'm in the zone, and like I'm not even thinking about what I'm actually doing,
exactly,
what cars I'm passing, or what, and I feel like that is so relaxed for me. It's like the best time to work. All these other people, they can focus on driving. I'll focus on the important things like meditation and worshiping and stuff like that. Like I love doing that. So what got you? What was the first sign in your heart that you're like, hey, I go both ways on, like the whole, I know it's real. I know the spirits are there. They've always been here since the creation. But what was the sign for you that you could sense something is out there and God put it in your heart and said, hey, you're going to do this? What was your sign for that?
So I woke up one morning, it was my birthday, and I asked my mom, I said, what's in the box? And she goes, "That's your gift." So ever since then, I had the gift. so, so I just ran with it. No, believe it or not, I'm having a conversation with God, and literally, because I had everything going right in my life, but I still felt empty inside. And I knew that, not completely empty. I just felt like there was more to life than what I was just doing. So I'm having a conversation with God, and I'm saying, you gotta give me some kind of answers, or you got to talk to me here, because I'm like, I know there's more to life than just what is. I said, when you give me the answers, just don't scare the hell out of me when you do. And those were my exact words. And so I was in my finished basement. That's where my office was. And I go upstairs, and I'm in my kitchen, and I see a bunch of junk mail on the counter, and I'm sifting through it. I usually just throw it out, but this time I was just, sifting through it. And I saw a postcard there, and it said, "How would you like to develop your psychic abilities and intuitiveness? Come to the Edgar Casey Foundation for this one weekend seminar." So I looked at it, I said, "Wow, I didn't know you could learn how to do this. I thought you knew you had it or you didn't." So I asked my wife, who was my wife at the time, I said, "You want to do this? It looks kind of interesting." She goes, "I don't give a crap about that." She goes, "You can go if you want. I don't want to go." So I went away for that one weekend in Virginia Beach, and there was about 50 of us in one large room. And, they were talking to us really nice about life, about God, about spirituality. And they were playing beautiful, calming serenity music. And then they broke us up into groups. And then they said, whoever you're with, whatever messages you get, just share it with that person. Don't judge it. Don't question it. Just tell them your thoughts. And so I was. And people were telling me how accurate I was. And so I said, wow. I said, I can't even believe this exists. To be able to tell somebody who you never met before about themselves, or what's going on, or their personality, or whatever. And this is like fresh cold, and people were doing the same thing back at me also. So it was really cool. Yeah, some people were better at it than others, but I ran with it. And then when I went home, I bought myself a deck of spiritual cards, and I started reading for friends and family for the next few years, just for the fun of it. I wasn't looking at it like this is the answer to my prayers. I did it just to see if I can do it. But, the more I was talking to people about this stuff, the more people were telling me how accurate I was, and at the end, and it was like blowing me away, to tell people about the future. Because before that weekend, I couldn't see jack crap. I couldn't see nothing. And I used to get readings when I was a teenager and in my early 20s, and people used to say, "You know what? You have the gift. You're able to do this. You're able." I go, "Yeah. Just tell me my future. Just tell me my business and my love life. I don't care about. I have it." I couldn't even relate to it. And so then I got to a point in my life where I needed some extra cash. I really needed some extra quick cash, and I didn't know what the hell I was going to do other than the regular job that I was doing. But I needed to make more money. So I'm sitting on my couch, and while I'm sitting there, I said, I know how to do readings. I said, I'll just throw an ad in the paper. And it said, if I don't pull through, no charge. So 90% of the people paid me. And just by word of mouth, it just took off like a bat out of hell. And 31 years later, and I've read for over 31,000 people. And, I've been on the radio. I've been on all over the place, and TV. Been on TV. I have my own international Facebook Live show every Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern time, called Angels and Answers. It's on my webpage, artiehoffman.com. So if you go to my webpage, artiehoffman.com, you'll see Angels and Answers, and then you just click on, and you get right to my Facebook Live show. And I read for people for free for 1 hour a week. But, there's lots and lots and lots of people. I have a couple thousand people who follow me, probably more than that, but I don't know. So I get lots of questions. So my assistant, Mary, she'll just randomly pick a question. They'll say, Artie, this person, so-and-so, Tara, she lost her grandmother. Whose name was Mary. Does she have any messages for her? So I'll just look at the camera, and then the spirit just pulls through. Or there are people who will ask about their love life, or, this is really funny. I love it when girls say, hey, Art, I'm trying to get pregnant. Do you see me getting pregnant soon? And I say, yeah, when you stop watching me and get in the bedroom, your odds are a lot better.
So when you, most people on the show know, like I've been into metaphysics. I've read the Bible, all the ancient texts, all the occult, the Testament of Solomon, and how he controlled the spirits and everything, and the ancient zodiac, the first one. I've been into all that. What is your like? What's the sensation and the where does the information come from? Is it the Akashic realm of where? And for the viewers out there who probably don't know this, but the Akashic record is basically everything that ever was intended and like spoke and thought of.
Everyone has a book of life. The Akashic
Right.
record is literally the book of life for each individual soul. The Akashic records is the information of each individual, not in this life, but also previous lives. And it has all the information of who you were and what you did and the intentions and yada, 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 yada.
When you get into this, when someone's like, hey, Artie, when I really need to make like $6 million, like in the next like 10, how is this going to, like, what is the realm of that? What's the first thing that happens in you that you're like, Steve, it's going to be, you got to walk down to McDonald's on the corner of 3rd and, like, what's the first thing that happens to you that gives you to first trust that spirit, to first trust it, that it's the right information? Because, John said not all, there a lot of them don't come in Jesus. Like they can be tricksters. So how do you know that's the right thing to say, and what's the first thing that happens to come out?
Well, to loosen myself up, I take a few shots of JD. I'm kidding.
Ooh, yeah, okay. That was me last night.
Get in the spiritual realm, I start seeing spirits. We all start seeing spirits if you get lit up enough. We're going to get high.
That's why they called it spirits. They were calling it that. Like, what is this?
They don't call it wine and spirits and food and spirits for nothing.
Right.
No, so what I do is I say a little prayer each day, and I call upon my loving guardian angels, because we all have guardian angels around us 24/7. I call upon all my guardian angels. Thank you, Archangel Uriel, Ariel, and Gabriel. Those are 3 of many archangels. And I say, thank you for sending the messages into my heart, mind, and soul. Thank you for guiding me with the truth of messages so I can help out other people. Thank you for protecting me during this time. In the name of the Holy Spirit, amen. So I just say that, I try to say that almost every day, and then, but it's always with me. So I'm off all the time. Like when I'm out in public or whatever, I'm off. I'm not on 24/7. But the moment I want to turn it on, I just blank out my mind. I've learned to be able to blank out my mind, and then according to the moment or the situation, I'll wait and see what the answers pull through. I don't try to force the answers. It's like, when you say, hey, what's the answer to this? 2 + 2 = what? 4. It's not a solid like answer like that. When you ask me a question about life or about a person or situation, I have to blank out my mind, and I just wait for thoughts to randomly just come to my head. My gut feeling tells me what the outcome is. If I feel like I'm just still blank, when I look at the cards will give me answers. I'll flip the cards and just answers start coming to me, like the details. I mean, it blows me away, the details of what I see for people. Last week, this was, I've been, like I said, I've read for over 31,000 people. I'm still amazed by it. So I was reading for this one girl last week, and while I was reading her over the phone, I never saw her. We were doing phone, and I didn't look her up or anything. While I'm reading her, I said, "Do you have straight brown hair with like some freckles on your face?" And she started to laugh. She goes, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do." And we weren't doing FaceTime. We were just talking on the phone. And I said, "Oh," because that was the image I was getting while I was reading her. So, but and it's not just so it just comes to me. It's just all a matter of just blind faith and trust. So, but like I said, when I first started doing it, I would just get random messages out of left field, about people or about situations. And then I got to the point where I said, now I wanted to really zone in on this and to really make it happen. I wanted to, get answers. So I've learned to develop a relationship, a language with the spiritual world. And so a lot of times they send me messages in way of songs. So they'll play songs in my head. And whatever that song is about, that's what's going on with the person. Sometimes it's a video, an image of a video. So whatever's going on in the video. Sometimes it's just a picture. Other times I'll hear voices in my head. So when I say video, so if you think about you waking up this morning or getting ready to do the show, the video that you're doing in your head, it's like that thought. Only for you, it's a it's a memory. For me, it's like unconditional. They'll just play a video in my head of what's what, or it's a picture, or like I said. But when I hear songs, I'm never wrong, because whatever that song is about, that's what life is about, and that's what's going on with the person. My very first experience that I ever had with a song in my head that I got a message, which blew me away. I was doing a reading for this one lady, and she was probably in her late 50s, early 60s at the time. And this is going back about, I don't know, maybe about 20 years ago. So she said to me, she says, Art, she goes, what do you see for my relationship? And in that moment, and now mind you, I've already read for her. This was like towards the end of her reading. And in that moment, I heard the song by Stevie Wonder. That's me and you, a part-time lover. And I said, he's cheating on you. I said, I really feel like he's cheating on you. She goes, I think you're right. I said, I know I'm right, because that song just came into my head out of left field. And I'm not, and it's not like I was just listening to Stevie Wonder, or that, I mean, I appreciate Stevie Wonder, but he's not on my, forefront of my top 10 list. But that song just randomly came into my head in that moment. So I've had many, 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 many moments like that, and it's really cool. It's just called blind faith. And another really cool story is that a girl walks into my place, all right, to get a reading. And she said to me, as soon as she walked in, she says, Art, she goes, I've been thinking about you every day for the last 2 years. So I'm flattered, very flattered. I'm not sexually turned on by her, but I'm very flattered by what she had to say. And I said, all right, so why were you thinking about me for the last 2 years? She goes, because you did a reading for me here 2 years ago, and you held my hand. And as soon as you held my hand, you started singing the song, Highway to Hell. I'm going to Highway to Hell by AC/DC. And so you said to me in that moment, when you held my hand, you said, if I don't stop doing what I'm doing, I'm going to get caught at doing something I shouldn't be doing, and I'm going to go to jail. You said that to me. Don't do it, otherwise you're going to go to jail. She goes, well, a week later, I didn't listen to you, and I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing, and I got caught, and I went to jail for 2 years. And every single day I woke up, she goes, I thought of you and said, why didn't I listen to Artie? Why didn't I listen to Artie? And so I said, wow. So
that's crazy. So we're going through your bio here, Artie, and it says that some of your clients include top personalities in movie, music, and the television industry. What you do confidential, or can you talk about any of the people that you've worked with?
Yeah, when it comes to celebs and stuff, it's pretty confidential, only because it's personal stuff.
Sure.
So, but I've read for a whole bunch of, top-notch personalities, you might want to call it. I mean, we're all important, but, it's just like me. It's just like me doing a reading for you, and then all of a sudden I go to somebody else and tell them you're dirt. I know everyone likes to hear like really cool stories of celebs and politicians and stuff like that, or producers, or sport figures and stuff like that. But they're people just like you and I. It just happens to be what they do and what I do. It's just
Sure.
It just is. But yeah, it's cool. I mean, the last famous person that I did read, which I will tell you, I'm not going to tell you what well, I could tell you this because this is frivolous. So Freddie, I forgot his name. I think his name's Frank on The Sopranos. he was the hitman for Tony Soprano.
Okay.
He was the last famous person that I read for. And while we were on the radio show together, because he was a guest and I'm like, you know, one of the people who was a part of the members of this one particular radio show. And he said, tell me something psychic. So I said, well, be careful because I see you cutting your hand. I said, I'm seeing blood right across one of your hands. I said, you got to be careful. And he thought about it. He said, I don't know, you know. And then after the show was over, he goes, you want to know something? He goes, there's a metal piece hanging above where my kitchen is. There's a metal piece hanging above the door frame. He goes, and I kept on looking and I just was saying to myself, I got to fix that. I got to fix that. That's that thin sliced metal piece. He goes, I'm going to wear gloves now, being that you told me that. You know, so I saved him from getting his hands cut up because he would have.
That's cool, man.
My family knew. We used to know this lady. I can't go into her name, but she's very old. She passed away in like maybe 2000 or something, or 2000, early 2000s. And she did some readings for some high level people. And she had this. She actually did some for like for the White House people. She had this red phone in this back room, and she actually had a crystal ball. And I remember like the phone was like this direct line. There was a cable right to the White House or like the Pentagon or something like that. And she would do readings for them. Oh, and she was like she had like a gypsy accent, even though she was from Italy. And she was like, the spirits are real, and like she would always tell me. It's like I would always remember these things she said, and she said when she dies, it's going to be in fire, right? And everyone would hear about it. The way she died, she fell asleep with a cigarette in her mouth, and it's just terrible. And the whole place burnt down, and it was all over the news. But when you were talking about the guardian, the archangels. And I don't know how. I mean, maybe you just are gifted with something. Like maybe I have no gifts. I read a lot, and Solomon would use the pentagram and like to bound demons, and then there would be well, it was a pentagram combined with water and some sort of thing, and he would throw it at them, and it would like shock them, and they couldn't move, and then he would be like, who do you work for? Who binds you? And there would be always Uriel, Ariel, Gabriel, and Michael. Michael is like the head one, but like it's always those three that like have them bound to the planet. And like, you know, I know for the people that are Christian or maybe even you struggle with a lot of Jewish people. I mean, like all over it says, you know, Leviticus, like don't
I
turn
just want
to
to say,
necromancers.
I want to interrupt for a moment. It's all what your intentions are behind your actions.
Right.
So in the Bible, it says what I do for a living, according to the Bible. A lot of people say, oh, that's really bad. It's negative. It's a devil's work or whatnot. You know, with 31,000 people that I've read for, I've helped heal so many thousands and thousands of people.
Right.
And if you're going to tell me that that's the devil's work, then I need to shake his hands and thank him because, and thank him for helping me heal so many people. So it's not so much as what you do, what makes it wrong. It's what your intentions are behind your actions is what makes anything right or wrong. So I do channel the Holy Spirit and the white light and the angels. And so I'm working with pure energy to be able to do what I do, whether it be emotional, spiritual, or physical healing. So, you know, again, it's what you do. Or there are people out there, unfortunately, a lot of people out there who try to manipulate the public for their own personal gains. And I won't do that, you know? So,
well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I mean, because I know depending on what kind of Jew you are and what traditions you have, they only like mainly do the Torah and the Old Testament. But in the New Testament, it's like, hey, careful with them because some are good, you know what I mean? Some are the good, you know what I mean? And some are the bad ones. So it's more open there because I personally think God would choose people if he has something to say. I mean, just think about everyone that saw the angels coming to them, and an angel appeared and they were talking to them. So why wouldn't it happen to somebody right now, I mean, that
I
never
want to
left
answer
you.
that question for you. God speaks to everybody. It just depends who listens.
Right. For
It's
sure.
not
Yeah,
that
exactly.
I'm no special different than you or anybody else out
Right.
there. It's just I've learned to develop my mind and my thoughts and my soul to be able to have a relationship with God, or to tune in with the language. And everybody
That's,
has
yeah.
their own mojo. So many people are afraid of the gift or afraid of that. It's like they fear God rather than love God.
Did it take you, because like, did it take you a while to train it in a way? And because that's what it's like. It's just like, try them. Like, okay, let's. It's like you're in the battleground, or like the danger room, and you're X-Men, right? And the Sentinels are coming in, and you're trying to figure out my powers, high blast, or something. Have you been like? Did it take you a while to train the
My
yourself for
mind,
this?
my mind and my thoughts. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
every day, even today, you never stop learning. You never stop learning. I don't care if you're 75 or 80 years old. You never stop
Right.
learning. There's always something new. See, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And there's a bumper sticker that I once saw,
Yeah.
and it said, hire a teenager while they still know everything.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So the younger you are, the more naive you are, the more you think you know, but you actually know very little. And there's another saying where a fool very rarely could learn from a wise man, but a wise man usually learns from a fool.
God uses the fools to confound the wise.
Yeah, from other people's mistakes or whatever. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not just your own experiences, but it's also through other people's experiences that you
Right.
learn. And when I do readings and I'm giving messages to whoever, it's like I'm hearing it for the first time myself. I'm hearing it for the first time myself. And I go, wow, that was like pretty profound. That's like, wow, that was like, a lot of times I have to stop the reading for a moment just so I can put a post up because the message was so powerful and so beautiful.
Did you ever have to say something that you're in a reading and you're like, what? And it's telling you to say something and you're like, they chop their heads off. Like, it's something so wild that you're like, should I say that? Like, you're talking about raping, torturing, babies being eaten. I don't know. Like, it could be anything where you're like, it's so crazy that you're like, I don't know why, but was there a orangutan that ate your something that happened? You know what I mean?
Well, a lot of times when I get messages, I generally kind of will figure out. I have. It takes me a little while to think about what the spiritual world is saying to me. Not always. Sometimes, like you're saying, So I get a very powerful message about someone, and I'm thinking, all right, I kind of get the gist of what you're trying to say, but you have to send me other messages because it's not so much as what I say, but how I say it. So if it's very delicate news, painful news, strong news, I'm not just a blunt person who'll just come out and say it. If I'm going to give, people say, Art, do you give any hard news? And I'll say, well, do I give bad news? And I say, well, I call it hard news but if I'm getting news, then I'm going to give you the information on how to deal with it or how to overcome it. I won't just drop a bomb on you and say, all right, well, this is about to happen. You're in deep crap. So, but I also ask for answers so that people could deal with whatever it is hard news that I'm giving. And I never tell people when they're going to die. That doesn't serve a purpose. Unless if somebody's on their deathbed and they have to, figure out arrangements or whatnot, how much longer is it for my father? But, if he's already like 70, 60 years old, and he's pretty much so healthy, he says, how much longer do you have? I'm not going to go there because I don't like to talk about death, and you're just going to be worrying or fraying about it. And I don't want to tell anybody when they're going to die because I don't want to put that seed in their mind and make it a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, but if somebody's already on their deathbed, and you want to know how much longer, whether it be 2 weeks, a month, or whatever, then that's different because, you know, they're already knocking on heaven's door. So I'll tell
Do
you.
you know when you're gonna die, or do you let yourself?
No, well, you know what? I always thought that I wasn't going to live to, I don't know why, till about 60 or less or whatever. I don't know. I just saw myself as early, but yet other psychics, mediums who I've read, people have read my palms because, you know, people who read, I don't read palms. People have read my palm and said, "Oh, you're going to live up to your late 80s." Both my parents did,
Right.
late 80s, early 90s. And they said, "You're going to live up there in age." So I said, "Oh, okay. All right, that's good." So I was told because I was told by other people. But when I'm emotionally attached to the outcome, I can't read because I don't know if it's coming through because of my ego. That's what I'm thinking. Or is that coming through spiritually? So it's very difficult to read for myself. So I'll go to other friends who are gifted and I'll ask them their thoughts spiritually about what they're getting. And now I try to go to people who don't know me at all, who could, whatchamacallit, who could, you know, I'd like to get a reading by people who don't really know me that much. So it's a cold reading and not just they know me and then, you know, because I've gotten some bad readings from friends that told me things. I mean, yes, they were accurate on certain things, but in other things they were like 100% off. So I don't know. But that's for my own karmic reasons. I don't know, but
That kind
but
of leads me into,
I can't read for myself. I could read for other people very well, but people close to me, I'm pretty good. But when they're too close to me, I don't know. I think I still can. I think I could still do it, but it's just a matter of what kind of a reading it is.
so you said you've read for over 31,000 people. What's your success rate? Have you had people come to you and say, "Look, Artie, you're full of shit"?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I've had people said, "Artie, you were so wrong about this, that, or that." And I said, "Okay." So it's funny that you should say that. I've been right most of the time. No psychic in the world is ever right, no matter how good you are, is ever right all the time, because there's what's known as psychic probabilities. So, in other words, if I'm talking about someone's relationship, and I said, well, if you do this with your partner, this is what's going to happen. And if you leave your partner, this is what's going to happen. And if you get a divorce, this is what's going to happen. If you go with the other fella, this is what's going to happen. Or the other girl, this is what's going to happen. This is what I see happening. Well, Artie, which one do you see me going with? I said, well, I'll tell you what I would do if I was in your position. But I just told you what to expect based on your choices. And that's what I see. There are certain things that are written in stone. It's going to happen come hell to high water. And then there are other things where it's like a psychic probability, where there's things that could change just because you have information in advance. So if I said to you, and I say this metaphorically, oh, I see you becoming a millionaire in your career, it's like that could totally change things for you, because if all of a sudden you start chilling out and kicking back and say, well, I already said I was going to become a millionaire. So if you stop becoming you just because I said that, then everything changes. But if you keep on going with your energy, with that same drive, then you have a good chance to become very successful in the way that you want, you know?
Mhm.
So, but when I tell women hard news about their relationship that they don't want to hear, like I saw them getting a divorce, or I see them cheating, I see the other fellow cheating, or whatever, you know, or I see something bad with the kids, and say, I'll say to them this. I go, I got good news and I got bad news for you. I said, the good news is I'm not right 100% of the time. The bad news is I'm right most of the time.
When people come into and I'm just saying this because, like, I mean, I love talking about this because I think it all exists. I think it's all there. You know, whether you agree or disagree, hey, I could go either way with it also, as well. Um, what a Okay, for example, uh, do you? We were talking, I'm trying to go 10 directions at once. When you're talking about past lives, when you get this information, uh, is it from? Do you feel a presence, or is it
It's like
a,
somebody speaking to me in the moment. It's like
but it's
right
right.
now, if I was to ask you right now, what was it like growing up with your parents? You have all this information that's right there in a heartbeat. You
Right.
could tell me about when you were 5 or when you were 7 or what happened when you were 10 years old. What was your experiences like with your parents at certain ages growing up? You just have this information. It's there for you. Well, that happens to me. It's just there for me right in the dime. Like as if I've already lived it with you or knowing it. It's like I already know it. It's a whole story that's just given to me in a heartbeat.
I got you. And for like the past lives, how I not that I don't. I think some
I want
people
to share
might.
something. I want to share something with you that I think you're going to appreciate. So I'm doing an Artie party. I do psychic parties where people hire me to go to their homes and I read for their friends and family, one at a time, a half hour each. I read for them individually and I call them Artie parties, being that my name's Artie. So anyway, a lady comes down the stairs. I was doing a reading in a finished basement of someone's home. So a lady's walking downstairs, and as she's walking over to me, as soon as I looked at her, I saw her walking the plank of a pirate ship. And I said to her, and she was blindfolded with a sword or a gun to her back. So I said to her, I just want you to know, I said, I don't normally do past life regressions. I said, but I just want you to know that you died walking off a plank off of a pirate ship in your previous life. And she goes, that's really interesting that you should say that. And she said, nothing has ever happened to me like that in my lifetime. But since the time I was born, since growing up to now, she goes, I've always been afraid of the ocean and large ships. And I never know why, because nothing has ever
Yeah.
happened to me bad at all. But yet I was always afraid of the ocean and ships.
Wow.
So I just told her why, because it was a past life experience that she had. So that was pretty cool.
So when people say, "Oh, because I've always been told I don't nothing you get. I mean, I love to hear people that go to get readings done. I don't go because I personally I'm very just deep in myself, but not egotistically. Although some people say, I look at the mirror too much, my hair and flexing. But when you're where do new souls come from then? Because if there's more people on planet Earth than ever. And how could there always be past lives if there's more people now? And like, cause it's not that I'm just, I think that like, yeah, I definitely think like, you've been here before. You know what I mean? Because you could tell when people are like, it's like they're an old soul. It's like they've been around this thing already. But I've always been told I'm a young soul. So like, and God said, I knew you before you were born, right? So I'm just like, I've thought about this. I'm like, I wonder, like, because I think God's plan for everybody's different. Like some people, oh, you're going to do this whole life circle again. You know what I mean? We need you here for that, like, and that might be a spiritual thing and whatnot. But like, I wonder where the new souls come from that to put in the bodies of people, because like now we have 7 billion people, and before there was like 2 billion, and like, you know what I mean? I wonder, or is there all these souls that the planet's just like this? Man, Earth is really coming up with new body, and they're just like feeding us souls all the time. Do you know anything about like? I mean, for my belief is it comes from the Almighty, but do you have other ways of explaining that of where souls can come from to fill the bodies of all these people?
Well, put it this way. I'm going to have a conversation with God possibly one of these days to find out exactly. But when you were explaining that to me, when you were, asking that question, the best way that they're describing it to me as you're explaining, we're all energy. We're all energy. And you ever take gooky gook? It's almost like Play-Doh. It's like gooky stuff. Or it could be like bubbles. And it's like with the gooky gook, it just like, it just spawns off of that piece and another piece grows. Or
Right.
if you were to take a twig off of an existing plant and planted the twig, the twig will have a whole other tree and life of its own. So it's like that. It's energy off of energy. And I never knew that until this moment, because when you were asking that question, God was answering, the angels were answering that question. So it's equivalent to a twig being pulled off of a tree, a living tree, and you replant it and it just spawns off into another soul or another being.
Right. I got you.
So there was, one of my Jewish friends, he's a doctor, he's, a few years older than me. And every once in a while we get together, we have these theology talks. And he said to me, now he's a Jewish guy, and he said to me, he goes, what do you think about Jesus being the Son of God? He goes, I don't know if I buy into all that. He goes, what's your viewpoint on Jesus being the Son of God? Is he really the Son of God? And I didn't know how to answer him. And so I said, give me a few moments. So I sat there quietly, waiting for an answer to come into my head. And I looked at my friend and I said, yeah, he is the Son of God, but no more than you and I are the Son of God. I said, we're also the Son of God. I said, he happens to be a very highly evolved spirit who has a pure, deep understanding about the unconditional love of God. And he's sharing the knowledge and the love to all of mankind, as there are other souls, not just Jesus, but other souls. But he happened to be, a strong figure in society. So he was brought to this earth to let us know more about the depth of spirituality, more that there's more to life than just on this physical plane, as was Moses and Abraham and Mary and a bunch of other, cool people. So it was fun.
That's what, like, there's a text. Now, this isn't biblical. It's called Pistis Sophia. And it's totally a apotheka, esoteric text in the mystical Hebrew. And he was said, because Jesus was the only one that ever transfigured, that was observed and witnessed by people. Because I guess all the other Buddhisms and the Zoroastrianism, no one ever actually physically. Some people will call it rainbow body, where they're just shining all the colors of everything and flying up. But Jesus was the only one that people physically observed him doing that. And when he went into this realm, the realm of the spheres, it's interesting because I want to bring this up when you talk about karma. It's like it all makes sense, and the way people explain it with stuff, I'm like, yeah, that's right. There's a little bit
wait.
side, because like
when you say it all makes sense, what all makes sense?
Just everything that everyone has been going through and talking about, and the beliefs. It's like you're all getting these. It's like there's one big story, which I think for me, the Bible, it doesn't have the exact little things in it, but it gives you like basically a big story, and all these other texts are like the intricacy, like the little thing. Oh well, here's the names of the stuff and whatnot, like all the beliefs, the religion. You know what I mean? Like it's all real stuff that happened, and there's a bigger thing that is gonna that obviously puts it together. But anyway, what I was getting at for Jesus was when he went into this realm, into the spherical realm is what he called it. He turned the heads of fate and destiny and karma and of the watchers, and he turned their heads. I don't know what this means. It says 6 months to the left. I have no idea what that means. But he rebuked their power of having destiny over us, almost like in karma. If you do good, you'll get good. I get how to say that. I get what that means, but also if I do good to expect good, that's not good then. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's not. I know what true karma means. Meaning, if you do good, you'll still get screwed somehow, but ultimately you'll probably get this. You'll be taken care of as well too. So I get like the whole how everything like kind of you can merge everything together. And also, the demons said that the sorcerers were talked to. that the bad ones, the bad spirits, would be crushed by the one born of a virgin too. But I love how you're just the stuff that you're getting at here, because um the realm and the spiritual realm is so real. It's almost like it's like a car. God made the car, you know. We have the body, which my belief is Jesus, but then the Holy Spirit's the fuel, right? And you're just like driving this car, and like the glory is like the little free accessories that come with it. And there's others like spirits that are around. Like the spiritual realm is so real. That's why like religious people, they don't get like the realm of the spirits is so real.
No, there's a difference. There's a difference between religion and spirituality.
Right.
Religion has a lot of boundaries. Religion has a lot of limitations. Spirituality and love, there are no boundaries.
Right.
Where it comes to spirituality and love. Religion is supposed to is supposed to be a bridge to get you to spirituality, to get you to God. And I'm going to share with you, I know these people preach religion and preach God and preach Jesus all the time, and yet they're the most unspiritual, godlike people on earth. They just go to church and they think they're righteous and stuff, which is a shame. So I'm going to share with you a little story that I read when I was a teenager. I never forgot this. So there was a black man who brought his family down to the South, to like Alabama, Georgia, and he moved from the North, he moved to the South. And so it was a Sunday and he went by himself to go to church. He wanted to find a church first that he felt comfortable bringing his family to. So he goes to this one church on a Sunday morning, and there was a sign on the door that said, we don't, no colored people allowed in the church. So he left the church and he went down the block to another church, and there was a big man standing at the door. He said, "Sorry, sir." He says, "We don't allow colored people here." He says, "You're going to have to go elsewhere." So he went to a third church within the neighborhood, same exact experience. So he's walking down the walkway, and he's walking down by the street, and he sits down and he has his face in his hands, and he's crying. And he said, "Leroy." It's God speaking to him. He goes, "Leroy, what's the matter, my son?" He goes, "God," he goes, "I'm just trying to go to church so I could, pour my heart out to you and show my love and appreciation to you." He goes, "And they won't let me in." And he goes, "Don't feel bad, my son." He goes, "They don't even let me in."
Ha! Yes, no, you're so right. I mean, there's so many. I'm not trying to badmouth churches or whatever, but like, there's so many fallen ones. I'm just a guy I'm just a nomad that walks the earth and tries to be as spiritually connected and read as much as I can. I try to do a blend of experience and knowledge. You know what I mean? I want to know about the car, but I also want to drive it too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Quite the sinner too.
Basically, you want to know how to drive the car, and you want to know the mechanics behind it, underneath
Yes.
the hood.
Yeah.
You want to know how it operates, not just the fact of how to operate it, but you want to know the mechanics underneath it. So I'm going to share with you. So, I wrote a book called Angels and Answers, and it's a really cool book, and it explains about life on a spiritual level and in ordinary life as well. And I'm on it's called Angels and Answers, and I'm on the process of writing my second book. It's just about finished, but I don't want to say the title just yet. And but if you go to my website, artiehoffman.com, you could order it, or go on Amazon and order Angels and Answers. But I promise you're going to think that I wrote that book just for you, because a lot of things are going to make so much sense to you about your life and life itself. And I have a lot more chapters following it on the second book that you're really going to love too. And it also explains about a bunch of angels and some of the saints besides. But I have a little joke, a little funny little moment story and a joke in there. And it says, "For those of you who don't believe in God, if you don't think God exists, so if your kid sneezes, what do you say to him? Better luck next time?"
I got you. I'm definitely gonna remember. So do you have a what do you have for the show here? What any messages about what feelings are you getting from the show? I mean, I just want to thanks like because I talk crazy stuff, but I love talking to people that can see things better than I can sometimes. Because I try to, I'm like, come on, tell me, and my brain's only well, it's big, but there's a lot of space in there.
You know, while you're talking, I see a lot of abstract things. If you learn just to be in silence, and your friend, you were talking about this person who looks at a crystal ball. It's not the crystal ball that actually gives the answers, but a crystal ball is a vehicle that when you look at the crystal ball and you blank out your mind, you don't look at the crystal ball, you look through the crystal ball, and images and minds will come to you. So it's like when I read for people, I like to read where there's a window, because when I look, and I'll answer your question in a moment, but when I look outside and I see the clouds and the trees, I'm not looking at the clouds and I'm not looking at the trees. I'm looking in that direction, but I'm looking through the trees and I'm looking through the clouds. I'm looking through it, and that's where the answers are. I'm not looking at things in the physical sense. So when I see you, when I'm hearing you talk, you have to, there's just so much to learn, so much to know. There is. And like I said, you never know much. But I keep on looking at you like you're looking at an abstract of a collage, and you're trying to make sense of every little detail. And sometimes things are just because. It's just because. But why is that space just like that? And why is it's just because? It's just because the way it fell. So you take a bunch of sticks. I used to play pickup, so you just throw them. It's like, well, when you threw them, it's like, why is that stick lying across 3 sticks and this one's by itself? And it's just because. Sometimes it's just because. But if you just look at the big picture, if you, and I'm meaning you, if you started to look at this big picture of abstract, but I think that if you started to create your own collage of abstract things that you find to be very beautiful, and you just look at it without looking at it in detail, but just look at the whole, I feel like you'll get answers. It could be abstract, you could create your own dream board. Maybe that's what that abstract is, a dream board for yourself, where you have the airplane or the islands or the big house or the family or whatever it is that you want. You create this dream board. And I feel like just by you paying attention and looking at it, whatever it is you want your life to represent, the mind believes what it sees. The mind believes what it sees. So long as you see it, then you'll manifest it. You personally are a manifester, but you start on square one a lot because you get so excited, you have a hard time following through and you get easily distracted. So you'll start on one project or get excited, and then all of a sudden something else will take, oh my God, and then you want to start getting with that, but you have a hard time really following through on any one particular thing because you get so easily distracted because you're excited all the time about many things. So if you want to become excellent at one thing, you got to generate your energy, your thoughts into one thing so you can become great at it. Otherwise, you'll only be good. You could be good at so many things, but you could be great at one thing.
How you said about the crystal ball, it has nothing to do with that. Like, it's kind of like when I drive and when you drive. Like, you're not, that's just that's the thing you want to look through. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
It's kind of like that.
Well, you're looking at the clouds, you're looking at the front, but you're not.
Right.
It's like you being in a room and there's a bunch of people and you're just staring at the direction, you're looking at somebody, but you're really not looking at them. you're just in a stare, and they just happen to be in that direction of your stare, and then all of a sudden they go whoa, and you go, oh, it's like boom. But
For sure. And when you
so
said about the little things, I just heard a friend of mine tell me recently. He's like, don't worry about the how. Well, how, you know what I mean? I was praying on that the other day. I was like, God's in the how.
that will slow.
You know?
Yeah, you'll slow down in the how. Exactly.
Right. Right.
You'll totally stop and slow yourself in the how. You just need to do the doing, and
Right.
don't figure out how or
Oh, that's
why.
great. Yeah.
You know?
That's
Artie,
great, man. I love it.
Artie, I think you hit the nail right on the head with Jimbo. As a good friend and listener of the show, Kyle Patton recently just said, Jimbo's mouth works faster than his mind.
Yeah, he gets all excited about stuff. Absolutely. So, what I want to do is I'll look at you. Say your full name for me.
Who, me?
No, the other one.
Oh.
Casey Shearer.
What is it?
Casey Shearer.
Casey Shearer. There was something that happened to you around 7 years old that really shifted your life. That really was very powerful. You were right around 77 years old. Did you lose somebody at 7, or there was a breakup around 7? When you were about 7 years old, there was a strong experience that you experienced that shifted your life.
Not that I can remember, Artie. I'm going to have to be honest with you. I've done a lot of drugs over the years. So
Okay.
my mind isn't what it used to be.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm getting right when you were 7 years old, there was somebody that was in your life that really made a big difference in how you think or where you want to go or what you want to do. Or you could have been very disappointed in someone during that time. And but there was a major impact in your life right around 7 years old. Ask one of your parents.
Okay.
All right. But you're going to end up helping a lot of people who are in dire straits. People who, when I say dire straits, I mean dire straits. You're going to end up helping people get out of a big tub of crap in their life. Whether they be poor, whether they be sick, whether they be elderly, but you're going to end up helping out people who cannot help themselves at all. And it's something that is just going to be with you forever. And it's not even like so much as for money. It's just a driving passion that I see you having, wanting to help out people who are clueless with life or vulnerable with life. And it's just something of what's in your nature. And some people might take advantage of you while you're doing it, but I don't see you ever stopping being like a Mr. Mother Teresa to people. And I feel like that you've experienced, whether it be within your life or what you've experienced through from what you've personally experienced with other people, that pain of suffering bothers you so much that if you see somebody suffering, what can I do to help? What can I do to help? You see a mother stuck on the side of the road with her kids. Let me pull over, help her out. I see somebody who's short money at the counter. Here, let me give you $5 to help pay for that or whatever. Don't worry about it. It's like, I see you like not worrying about yourself. I just want to help out the people. I just want to help out people. Not that it's a driving force. You wake up today, oh, let me help somebody. I don't feel like you're like that, but I do feel like, you're gonna be in a position where you are consistently going to be helping out vulnerable people. It could also be, believe it or not, I could see you also as a big brother or a foster parent or helping out, or it could be a partner of yours that you're with that is very much so into wanting to help out somebody who's in between screwed up families or coming from a screwed up family. But I see you being like that type of a person in your life.
I can verify this. Casey, it helps me out. I mean, we had to drive to help him move some stuff the other day. And I think so fast. I have so much going on. I'm trying to solve the creation of the universe. And then, claim it to people like, hey, it's all real, and they don't believe me. I don't know how to work my Bluetooth on my car. And I was like, why is it not hooking up? And Casey immediately is just like, pushing buttons, like like one-handed, what I mean? Like while he's drinking coffee, makes my Bluetooth work. And yeah, he's a very stable man. Few words, stable man. Always there for me.
Yeah. So, and I see him consistently being like that, to help out a bunch of people. Somebody might be needing help to help do a little construction work within their home. Yeah, I'll help you out. Well, you need an extra body to help you hold the wood while you hammer it in, or do this, or you need a little help with painting, or you need help with, it's just, who he is by nature. And, but you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Also, how old are you, Case?
39.
You're what?
39.
39. I see you being very close with twins, and I'm not sure if this has to do with kids or if this has to do with a love or one of your best friends. But I see you being very tight with somebody in this lifetime who is a twin, or you. I don't know if you're with both the twins, but who's a twin, and I don't know the detail of that though. But I just see twins around you. There you go. You're moving to Minnesota. You're going to be the part of the Minnesota Twins.
Well, yeah, I think you're spot on there, Artie. I those are things that I do.
Yeah, it's like, you're concerned, but you're not overly worried. And
I sleep pretty good at night.
Yeah. So, and it's all good. It's all good. Lay off the acidy foods and the sugars. So if you find your stomach really bothering you, it's because of the too much of the sweets and or the acidy foods or drinks that you're putting in your system that's causing your stomach to bother you at times. So, and just take some Tums, drink lots of water to help flush that out of your system, because you have a habit of eating in a way that you build up a lot of acid in your system.
Yeah, I would.
You did just burp the other day really loud.
Yeah, I would recommend you, man. You're pretty spot on.
So anyway, but that's the cause and effect. You could have your sweets, but pay attention to your stomach. So if you're about to eat something out of boredom, or you're just wanting something, literally pay attention to your stomach and your insides, and you could tell whether is it worth having that piece of cake or chocolate or this or that, because then afterwards your stomach is going to it's going to get tighter. It's going to feel like it's so full again. It gets full very easily. So by laying off the breads and the carbs and the sweets, you're going to notice a huge difference on how well you feel within your body. I mean, yeah, that's good general rule of advice, but I'm feeling you specifically, and that's what I'm picking up on.
So you're saying that eating 4 edibles at night and then eating a TV dinner at midnight, that's no good?
Yeah, I would cut back. At least a half a TV dinner at midnight.
Artie, I just by listening to you and everything, like, do you tell people that you do these for? Because these are we all have this ability to do this, like you said, and how you said to me about that was her crystal. Yeah, right. Like that was her crystal ball, and that was her way of doing it. And maybe my way of getting stuff is driving. And how you said, don't look at. I mean, I do that all the time.
The reason why driving you get there is because you have no one to bounce off of. You're in that quiet space.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Why. Yeah.
So that's why you're able to get there if you want to get there while driving, because it's just you and the inside of the car and you're driving. I mean, unless it's blasting music.
Not usually. I actually don't, and I'm a musician. I don't actually listen to music when I drive.
Neither do I. Once in a while I do, but not most of the time.
And about the when you like the how thing of like don't look at the little like just take it in and let how be like I feel like I'm pretty. I think most people, and like I'm sure you say this, like you can do this. Just be open to everything. Of how I'm like, yeah, I do that, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm right there with you. Like it's almost like I'm not saying I'm psychic, but like we can all be in ourselves. Uh, for what word is
So
it when you're psychic with
what I want
yourself?
to suggest to you, is that while you're driving, keep a notebook next to you and a pen,
Oh,
so that you're going to get thoughts, whether it be about theology, God, it could be a beautiful saying, it could be a song title, it could be a song or whatnot. You think you're going to remember everything, but you're not, or how you said it, or how it came out. So by you keeping a paper and a pad with you inside your car, you could pull over and you could write down that important thought that means everything to you, because it's only during those times when you're in that peaceful space, and a lot of it while you're driving, is when, and don't try to force it. Well, Artie said it's like, this is where it's going to happen. No, just
for
still
sure.
being blank. You might not get jack shit for another 30 days. Who knows? But just allow yourself just to be in the blankness. But when a beautiful thought does come to you, then write it down.
I totally will. And you know what? I've been told that so many times, just the way people that know me really well, they're like, why aren't you writing this down? You should have written that down. And I actually have a diary book that this one woman gave to me after this one night. She's like, you need this. And I was like, thank you so much for everything that you just done. But I have it in my car actually. And I always think about. I actually have written some things in it, and it's great that you said that.
I just
So
thought of something incredibly funny. That I'm going to write down right after this interview.
good. Send it to us.
Wait. But this is what's funny. And don't interrupt me during this moment. I just had an incredible thought. And then somebody says to you, well, what is it? I didn't say I have it. I just said I had it.
Well, Artie, dude, I thank you so much, man, for talking and just bringing up some truths to people and have us all look inside ourselves and whatnot. So what I'd like to do before we wrap up is give you like, is there a message that you can send to humanity, like, or like my dad said, like to put in your pocket and when you get older you can pull it out and something that you have to keep with yourself? What's something that people that you could leave our wonderful, beautiful listeners and viewers with that'll make them grow inside themselves? Like, so we don't
I
need to.
understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to share with you another funny thought before I answer that question. Do you know who the comedian is, Stephen Wright?
Yep.
He's very dry. He looks like Larry from the Three Stooges.
Yep.
And he starts off some of his shows like this, his one-liners. He goes, a funny thing happened to me 2 years ago, or was that yesterday? So, but as far as the most Confucius thing, or one of the most Confucius things that I could say to people, is be true to yourself and don't give away your power according to other people's expectations. Trying to meet up to other people's expectations. A lot of people step out from who they are. They end up becoming who they are not, or what doesn't feel right, because they're trying to meet up to everyone else's expectations. And that's something that you should not do. If it feels right, then do it. If you're feeling it, if you're angry about doing something for someone, or you're feeling resentful, then don't do it. A lot of us allow ourselves to grow uncomfortable. Comfortable in the uncomfortableness, because according to what everybody else wants or expects of you, you'll do it, but you're not happy about it. So be true to yourself and not living up to other people's expectations. You know, if it's okay for you to do it and it feels right, then by all means. But one of the biggest mistakes people make is they jump through fiery hoops for so many other people, and these people don't even appreciate what you're doing for them, but yet you keep on trying to jump through more hoops and more hoops and more hoops, and you're disrespecting yourself. And if you're chasing after the approval of other people, that means you're not approving yourself.
Be yourself, man. Work it out.
Just be yourself. There you go. There you
Well,
go.
thanks a lot, man. This was fun.
All right, cool. It was a pleasure.
And just one more time, tell everyone where they can find you and get your book and all that good stuff.
Yeah, if anybody wants to get my book, Angels and Answers, or if they want a private reading over the phone, they could always call me at 732-778-7173. I'll repeat it, 732-778-7173. Or you could call my 1-900 number. I'm only kidding. No, go to artiehoffman.com. I have my website there, and I have a bunch of really cool videos that you'll appreciate. Has a lot of different topics on my on life, on God, life, love, relationships. Or you could email me at artiehoffman@gmail, ARTIEHOFFMAN @gmail.com. And it was a pleasure sharing time with you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you, Artie.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your stuff. Thank you.
Absolutely. Stay well, guys, and thanks for having
You too.
me.
You too,
All right,
man.
take care.